Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In One Piece chapter 1064, we saw some very interesting events come to pass. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the possible events that could happen in our upcoming chapter of 1065 based on what we saw in this most recent chapter. Before we get into the video, I would love to introduce you to Wondershare Unit Converter 14, which is sponsoring today's video. As some of you may undoubtedly know, one of the most difficult parts for those of us that love anime and want to make videos is editing the videos. But with Wondershare Unit Converter, this makes the process so much easier. This is because of the many AI tools this amazing program has, where we're able to cut parts of the video that we don't want super easily. And we're also able to use the smart trimmer feature, where we can cut and edit according to the volume of the audio, and this helps our work a ton. On top of that, we also have the subtitle editor, which saves us a lot of time generating automatic subtitles. We just need to edit a little and then leave the video exactly the way we want. We can also import, add subtitles manually, and we can even change the font and customize the text, which makes the videos all the more beautiful when we make them. There are many other amazing tools in Unit Converter as well, such as the GIF Creator, where you can create GIFs of your favorite characters, remove the backgrounds, and even improve the quality of our videos by removing noise. So if you really like anime or want to create amazing videos, or maybe even share your favorite moments with amazing GIFs, or even just make a video for fun, you need the amazing tools that Unit Converter has at your fingertips. Many thanks to Wondershare Unit Converter for sponsoring this video, and if you guys also like it, make sure you go to the link in the description below and enjoy making your own fantastic videos. So my friends, let's start talking about this matchup between Teach and Law, because in the previous chapter it looked like Law had a big advantage over Teach. Plus, Law's pirates were managing to destroy Blackbeard's ship without any interference from Teach's pirates. During the main confrontation between these two captains, Law managed to deliver an electric attack to Teach's body, causing the Yonko to bleed out, leaving Law at least appearing to have the upper hand in this fight. This is mostly due to the fact that Teach did not know that Law had awakened his fruit's power. Teach said he'd only known about the room techniques, but Kroom with a K is totally unknown to him. So Teach is witnessing with all of his body all the new techniques that Law has managed to obtain during his confrontation against Big Mom and Kaido. So with the battle seeming to favor Law's side, we do see this specific frame where we see Teach using a black vortex technique, a technique derived from his devil fruit, the animenomi. This technique is somehow able to control gravity, allowing Teach to pull Law towards him, very similar to what Teach did in his battle against Ace, where Teach pulled Ace towards him, but Ace ended up managing to hit Teach with a fire attack. The same may happen to Law, but this technique of Teach's could give him a big advantage in this battle, because normally Oda likes to make a clash very suspenseful and leave cliffhangers. Oda also likes to put a character with all the advantage, but then has his opponent manage to turn the tide in a way that we'd never expected. So in the next chapter, we'll see Teach starting to take control of this battle. There's also a very good possibility that Teach will nullify Law's powers, as we currently are seeing. Law is using his Kroom, which means that he won't be able to teleport away because he doesn't have his room effect all around him. After all, Law's shambles technique only works in his room, and because Law can create a large sphere around himself and other objects, he can swap places with any other object in that area that he can see. In the last frame of the battle that we saw, where Law and Teach are fighting, Law was still using Kroom on his sword, which means he may not be able to switch to his room technique very quickly, and even if he does, there's still the possibility that Teach could nullify room with the power of his darkness fruit. This might make it impossible for Law to escape from Teach. And plus, some of Teach's subordinates didn't do much in the chapter. We only saw Doc Q using that exploding apple attack, and then Van Augur trying to hit Law with a shot from his gun. Meanwhile, Stronger and Jesus Burgess didn't seem to play much of a role in this recent chapter. Strong had been cut in half, while Burgess didn't appear in the chapter at all, which means that in this next chapter of 1065, we could see a twist where Teach's pirates will start beating Law's pirates and taking advantage in the battle. We also don't know if this next chapter will bring an end to Law and Teach's confrontation, since there's still a lot of things that can take place. In the previous chapter, for instance, we saw that Kuzan at least seems to have allied himself with Teach's crew, but so far, he hasn't appeared on the battlefield. If Kuzan is indeed on Teach's side, he could just remain on the ship because we saw that he was watching over Pudding, or he could have his own ulterior motives where he's in search of something, or at least keeping tabs on what Blackbeard's been up to. It's also worth noting that we haven't seen many of other Teach's crew members that could have their own very powerful devil fruits. In that brief panel where we saw that Kuzan was looking after Pudding, there were other weaker pirates on the crew nearby, but we don't know the entirety of the crew that's on the ship. So Teach may may have just chosen a few people to come out, but he may ultimately call upon other crew members with other mysterious skills. Meanwhile, Law doesn't exactly have a gigantic crew, so if all of Teach's pirates were to appear on the scene, Law and his crew would have a big problem, because although they are highly skilled, Teach would have the advantage in numbers. This would result in the defeat of Law and his crew, allowing Teach to get all of the information from the road poneglyphs that Law managed to obtain during the Battle of Wano. Fate may also have something to say about this battle, because if Law were to lose this battle, which is pretty likely, at least unless he pulls out some mysterious other skill we haven't seen, if Teach doesn't actually win this battle, he's not going to be able to continue his mission of finding the One Piece, and thus cannot become Luffy's final obstacle to Laugh Tale. However, if Law is able to pull out the victory, he could save Pudding and use her to find the One Piece, while Teach and his crew would again be at a disadvantage. So it's very likely that Law may end up losing this fight. So with everything at stake for Teach, he's gotta want to possess these 3 road poneglyphs, leaving just the final one to be found to decipher. Something that would otherwise be impossible for Teach, because Nico Robin, at least until Pudding activates her power, is the only one that can read and decipher poneglyph writings. However, we did get an interesting clue in chapter 1064. We do know that Pudding can have, or at least gain, the ability to decipher it, because she not only has the blood of a human, but also comes from the Three-Eyed Tribe, a tribe that allegedly has the power of the voice of all things, something that can partially, or at least maybe totally, decipher a road poneglyph. Although it may not be enough, we have seen this work in the past. After all, we saw that Gol D. Roger indeed had the voice of all things, but he couldn't fully understand what was written on the poneglyphs, just the gist of it, and it really took Odin's help to fully guide him to the final island and get to the One Piece treasure. But since there's only one road poneglyph left to be deciphered, even if Teach could partially decipher it with the power of Pudding's third eye, it might be more than enough to get him in the right direction to find the treasure. Teach might only need to use Pudding translation as a reference to show a path near the location of the treasure, giving him the ability to get to the One Piece without having the need to capture Nico Robin. However, there are still 3 obstacles in Teach's way of his dream being realized. The first is the fact that Pudding doesn't at least have her third eye awakened yet. She herself said that some half-bloods can't even awaken the potential of their third eye. This means that Teach might have to find some way to get her to awaken it, something that Teach may or may not know how to do, since there is very little information about the Three-Eyed Tribe, because apparently it's even rarer to find a member of it still alive. In fact, the only three-eyed member that we have confirmed is Pudding, and Teach even ordered his most powerful allies to go to Whole Cake Island to capture her, because he has no other information, at least no other information than he shared, about any other member of this three-eyed tribe. The knowledge of this tribe may have even been lost during the Void Century, leaving very few members around of this tribe. However, Teach is very crafty, and we've seen that he is very capable of playing the long game, so he may indeed have a way to get Pudding to awaken the potential of her third eye. The second obstacle is that Pudding isn't on the side of Teach's pirates. She's too proud to lower herself to Teach's level, and even if she were able to awaken her third eye, she could hardly cooperate with Teach in finding the greatest treasure in the world. So it would probably take Teach blackmailing or threatening some brother or family member or someone else important to her so that Pudding would be forced to read the road poneglyph and give the information to Teach. The third obstacle are Pudding's brothers, because they're not going to allow Teach to keep their sister too long and get away with it. So it's likely that Katakuri and some other brother will go after Pudding to rescue her. This might even force them to form an alliance with the Straw Hats so that they can save Pudding and Kobe. So we might get to see Luffy and Katakuri together again, but this time they'll be fighting on the same side. Finally, let's talk about these last events in the chapter where we see Punk 01 Shaka talking with Dragon. And as we can see, it seems there's some connection between the two of them. Might have been allies for quite a long time. This may end up explaining why Kuma, who was a member of the Revolutionary Army, ended up allying with Vegapunk, allowing him to have his body totally altered. And this could be part of Dragon and Vegapunk's plan together. But we also have to remember that each Punk seems to act independently, and they may not share everything with the original or Stella Vegapunk himself, which could mean that Shaka could be a double agent working for both Vegapunk and Dragon at the same time. As we saw in the final panels of chapter 1064, Shaka informed Dragon that they were likely to lose their life very soon, which means that this partnership or alliance will end after all the Vegapunks lose their lives. But Dragon indignantly told him to stop talking nonsense, showing that Dragon may in fact care very deeply about Vegapunk, or maybe just about Shaka, who is at least at this point Dragon's possible informant. Aside from Dragon's presence, we also have to remember that all the Straw Hats are currently on Egghead as well, but in two different locations. Because Luffy, Jinbei, Chopper, and Bonnie are towards the bottom of the island where the scientists work, and Sanji, Nico Robin, Nami, Brook, Frankie, and Usopp are headed towards the top of the island with Vegapunk Lilith on the robot. At last we saw, the part of the crew that's with the Sunny is headed towards a structure that looks like a broken egg, and this could possibly be where the original Vegapunk lives, or at least Shaka and a couple of the other Vegapunks. So now that they're all on the same island, we can expect that CP0 will be arriving soon. So in this next chapter of 1065, we may see CP0 land on the island, and they may start at the bottom of the island where Luffy and the others are, because their mission overall is to destroy all the versions of Vegapunk before they take the life of the original. So whether we see a large confrontation break out, or whether Lucci and his crew go to the nearby island and ask for reinforcements from the members of SWORD is yet to be seen. And because we don't exactly know where SWORD allies itself, we could expect that CP0 might still ask them because they're going to assume that they, like them, are allied with the world government. But we've also wondered that SWORD may be an organization that's secret inside the Marines and is got a different mode of operation, just as we know as CP0 is derived from the world government and works inside the Marines. So although alliance could be possible, we know that this is not necessarily going to be an overall favorable situation for CP0. And even if Lucci doesn't initially summon SWORD members, once he discovers that the Straw Hats are also on the island, this may end up distracting Rob Lucci just long enough to call for reinforcements before heading out to take all of the Vegapunk's various lives. But now that we've covered all of our different expectations for chapter 1065, we'd love to know what you think about it. Do you think that Lucci and company of CP0 are going to go by the nearby Marine base first, or will they call in SWORD after they realize the Straw Hats are there? Secondly, what do you think it meant when we saw in that one panel in chapter 1064 of Pudding opening her third eye? Do you think she's actually managed to awaken it, or does she have something more sinister in mind? Let us know what you think about all of that in the comments below. So as we bring our video to a close, I'd like to thank all of you for watching the video all the way up to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like and hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I hope to see you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.